Hi, Sugar Gliders. Let's take a look at how we can graph fractions and decimals on a decimal number line. So let's start with looking at our number line. We're going to look at all the numbers between 0 and 1. So let's put 0 at the left hand side of our number line and 1 at the right hand side. What number goes exactly between 0 and 1? It's 1/2, or in fraction form, it's 0 and 5/10. Okay, decimals are divided up into tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. We are going to take our number line and divide it into 10 equal sections. So let's see how we're going to do this. We're going to take between 0 and 0.5 and we're going to make 4 marks. And that's going to give us 5 equal sections, as equal as we can get. All right, then we're going to go on the other side and make 4 equal marks. And that'll give us 5 sections on that side. So that gives us 10 equal sections in all. Between 0 and 1, we can now label these marks. Here's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10 is already done for us. That was our 1/2. 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 1 is 10/10. All right, now let's look at our common fraction decimal equivalencies. 1/4, you have it memorized, is 0.25. 1/2 is 0.5. And 3/4 is 0.75. I want to graph these fractions decimal equivalencies on my number line. So if I look at 0 and 25 hundredths, I need to figure out where that's going to go on my number line. Well, since 25 hundredths is in the hundredth spot, and 1 here on my number line is only in the tenth spot, I'm going to add a 0 and get that into the hundredth spot. So 1/10 is the same as 10 hundredths. 2/10, I'm going to add a 0, that's 20 hundredths. 3/10 is 30 hundredths. So I can do this to all my decimal numbers. And now, after I've added zeros and got the decimals on the number line into the hundredths place, I could start plotting my decimal numbers. So 25 hundredths falls between 20 and 30 hundredths. And if I look right here, it falls right between them. So that's 0.25. And we know that's the same as 1/4. 1/2 is already on our number line, so I'll just graph it by making a point. And then 75 hundredths falls between 70 hundredths and 80 hundredths. So 75 hundredths would go right there. Okay, let's take a look at the other common fraction decimal equivalencies. Let's first start by, again, plotting or making the marks on our graph. So 0 to 1, and 0.5 is in the middle. That's 1/2. We want to split this into 10 equal sections. So if I start with between 0 and 0.5, I'll make 4 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives us 5 sections. I'll do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 10 equal sections between 0 and 1. Those will be our tenths place. So let's go ahead and label those. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. 5 is already labeled, 5/10. 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 1 whole is 10/10. All right, let's take a look at our fractions. Let's change 1/5 into tenths. Well, we know to go from 5 to 10, we multiply by 2, so 1 times 2 is 2. So there's 2/10. 2/5 is 4/10. 3/5 is 6/10. And 4/5 is 8/10. All right. Now that I have them in the tenth spot, I can go ahead and rewrite them as decimals. So 2/10 is 0.2. 2/5 is 0.4. 3/5 is 0.6, and 4/5 is 0.8. Now in this case, I really don't have a need to add those zeros. So I'm going to find them on my number line and graph the points. So 1/5 is actually 2/10 right there, and I'm going to label that one 1/5 so we can see that they're the same. 4/10 is right there, and that's our 2/5. 6/10 is right here, and that's our 3/5. And 8/10 is right here, and that is our 4/5. So if we look at the number line and I want to make these marks longer, I can actually divide this into 5 equal sections as well. Okay, so we can go from here to here as 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. 5/5 is one whole. All right, our eighths. Let's go ahead and work on our number line so we can plot the points after we've changed them into decimals. So I'm going to split this into 5 equal sections, again by making 4 marks. Got to add my 0 and 1 at the ends. 0.5 or 0.5 divides it exactly in half. Let's go ahead and label each mark. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 10/10 is one whole. All right, I know that 1/8 is 0.125. Couple ways I could have done that. 1/8 I can turn into thousandths, and 8 times 125 is 1,000. 1 times 125 is 125. So fraction form can be turned into a decimal form, 125 thousandths. Remember, another way you could have done that was take 1 divided by 8, and you can go ahead and work through that. 8 goes into 1 0 times, it goes into 10 once. 8 times 1 is 8, subtract, you get 2. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 22 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract, you get 4, and then bring down the last 0. 8 goes into 45 times. So you have your 0 remainder, and you get the same answer either way. Okay, I know, I'm not going to go through that, but I know 3/8 is 0.375. 5/8 is 0.625, and 7/8 is 0.875. Okay, how am I going to graph these decimals? Well, I don't see any numbers in the thousandths, but I can add 2 zeros to each of these tenths numbers because now I have it in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So go ahead and do that. Make all these numbers in the thousandths. And then let's take a look and see where 125 thousandths would be graphed on the number line. It's between 100 thousandths and 200 thousandths. Right here is 150 that fits between 100 and 200, so 125 thousandths would be right there. So that's my 1/8 mark. 375 thousandths would be between the 300 and 400. Here's 350 thousandths, so 375 thousandths must be a little further along. 5/8 is 625 thousandths. It fits between 600 and 700 thousandths. There's my halfway mark, 650. So 625 would go here. And then finally, 875 thousandths is between 800 and 900 thousandths. Halfway would be there, so 875 thousandths is a little more than halfway. Okay, so you kind of get an understanding of where these decimals fractions lay on the number line. The next one, 1/3 and 2/3. Well, if I remember from doing my changing fractions into decimals, I would have to do 1 divided by 3. And if I do this, I can see that 3 is going to repeat. So this is actually a repeating decimal. And 2/3 is, well, I'll go through the process. You might already know this. 2 divided by 3. 3 goes into 26 times and you get 18. Subtract and you get 2, and you can see that that 6 is going to repeat, so that's a 0.6 that repeats. Now that should make sense. If 1/3 is 3/10 that repeats, 2/3 must be 6/10. Let's go ahead and mark our number line into tenths. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 1 whole is 10/10. All right, let's find 1/3, which is the repeating 3. I'm actually going to add another 3 here so we can see what's going to happen. Here's 30 hundredths and 40 hundredths. Here's halfway. So 33 hundredths, we know it's going to repeat. It's going to fall right about there. Okay, so this is my 0.3 that repeats. And then I'm going to look for my 2/3. It's going to fall between 6/10 and 7/10. If I were to add that to the hundredths place, I can see that 66 falls just a little bit past the 65 hundredths mark. It'll go right there. All right, come in with any questions you have tomorrow and we'll talk about them. Have a great night, Sugar Gliders.